What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. We are needing to finish up some body work on this Subaru. I'll tell you, your boy's tired. He's tired of body work. And you can see here, I did a little off-camera work. I started sanding this hood, getting it almost completely prepped out, sanding the primer down, and making it nice, like I did everywhere else on this car. So with that being said, I did a little walk around and see if there's anything else I need to do. And we have body damage there. There. Pretty much everywhere on the rear bumper needs some work. I got those spots sanded down, body filled, and so now we just need to move on to sanding this and get it in primer, and it should be ready to go for the next step. Speaking of the next step, I've made my decision. We're going to be painting this car. I have never resprayed an entire car before. I've used paint guns minimally, so this is going to be a huge learning process. And I'm excited to learn. We can really try to hone in our skills on painting this thing. Honestly, this should not be too bad to paint. From my minimal experience, looking at this car, it's not going to be that horrible. In the aspect of, we have frameless windows, so we can work in sections. We can take the rear bumper off, take the trunk off, paint those separately, and then we'd have pretty much this side, the pillar, just like you would wrapping it. You would wrap this part with the pillar, doors separately, fender separately, hood separately. So I don't think it's going to be too bad. Before we get to painting this car, the color is still TBD. I have a couple ideas, trying to figure it out, see what will work best for me. But in the meantime, body work. Let's get it perfect so that when we lay down some paint, there's no flaws showing. Alright, so as you just saw, we got this whole thing prepped out, all the body filler sanded. Now the last thing to do is primer. Just to make sure and smooth out all the areas that may be still a little high, we're going to use some filler primer. Some of that there. Sand that down to make it look all pretty, like those doors, so that when we go to paint, there's zero imperfections. Or as little as we can have. So what we just put down was the U-Pole sandable primer. It's their filler primer to fill in any imperfections that the body filler couldn't pick up. And that's how it looks. Along with that one, all the doors, as well as the hood. But we're going to let that dry. It says sandable in about 15 to 20 minutes, so let's let that flash off completely, dry out. Then we can go ahead and hit that with 800 grit, like we did everything else, and get that ready to go for paint. Alright, well that's going to be the finished product. before we go ahead and lay down some sealer on this whole rear bumper and the rest of the car, obviously. But we have that sanded down at 800 grit. Before this goes into the booth to get sealer, we're going to sand this down. We're going to block the entire car again, do a quick block, make sure everything is nice and flat. And then we're going to hit the entire car with Scotch-Brite and degreaser, and then that'll be that. And then we can go through, dry off the car, make everything pretty again, and then we'll go ahead and lay down sealer. Obviously, we're going to have to disassemble all the seals, mirrors, door handles, and then pull off front bumper, headlights, rear bumper, trunk, and then mask everything off. All right, so we're back on day 2 of prepping this car out for paint. There's one thing that I haven't mentioned to you guys yet about kind of what's wrong with this car, minus the bodywork and all that jazz. The pinch welds on the bottom where the side skirts clip in, pretty much where you lift the car up on those pinch welds. This car has been up and down so many times by the previous owner that they are just completely folded over and crunched and disgusting. So we need to get those straightened out to the best of our ability so that we can go ahead and pull off these side skirts and get them fitting properly. You can see this side skirt, not that big of a deal. There's not really any gaps other than like right here. And I think that has to do with the clip. But if we move over to the other side, the pinch welds are so messed up that it just keeps unclipping itself, and it's not going to continue to stay. It's not going to continue to stay unless we fix it. So pretty much course of action, we're just going to lift this thing up and get it on jack stands away from the pinch welds, and then take some vice grips and a hammer and just kind of go to work and see if we can get this guy up to or close to factory spec. So when I say that these things are hammered, I mean it. This is what a side skirt and a pinch weld should look like. Nice, perfect, beautiful. And that's what it does look like. So that's going to be fun to fix, because you can see these little pop clips is what I need to get to in order to take off this side skirt. And that one's completely covered. The back isn't bad. They didn't seem to care on the front when they were lifting it up. So now I get to go have fun and beat on some metal for a while. So let's get this side skirt pulled off, or the best that we can, and try and get, you know, the pop clips bent out of the way so that we can go ahead and get this metal straightened out. Alrighty, I got this side skirt off, and it's in relatively really good shape. I could probably bend all this back once I get the pinch welds set up correctly, but no broken clips. We're not missing a clip. So all in all, it's a good start. Now let me know we have every clip. This one sat really well on the body, so I'm not too worried about fitment issues and stuff like that when it comes to this one. The other one, I think it's going to be alright as well. It's just missing a couple clips, I think. So let's get this set to the side, and we'll get this prepped up for some paint here in just a little bit. We need to get the other side skirt off, and we need to start working on these pinch welds. And about 2 minutes later, we got the other side skirt off and laying down. This is kind of the one thing I was hoping wouldn't happen. The actual clip right here broke off. So we're going to need to plastic weld that back on and try and get it perfect. But other than that, let's get this up and out of the way. That would make sense as to why, well, this would make sense as to why it was sagging in this area in the beginning, and then this clip wasn't even in. But all the other ones were, so that's right where those two holes are, and that's where it was sagging at. Thankfully, we have all of our pieces. We can go ahead and get this guy fixed up, bent back to shape, and get him painted. Alright, so that's pretty much how we got it now. Only took me about 10 minutes to get that all straightened out. If you really wanted to, you can go on the back with a dolly and a hammer and make it perfectly straight. But since my side skirts are going to be covering this up, I'm going to go ahead and scuff all this up and hit it with a little bit of primer. And then this will be ready to go once the side skirt is painted. Alright, we just jacked up the other side. And this side's not as bad as the other side. It's definitely straighter for longer, so pretty much just where they were jacking this thing up is what made it all jacked up. I want to try and see if we can save these side skirts. So let's do a little before and after, we do a little testing and see, and then I'll show you the process if it works. Here's a little before. And after. So obviously it's not going to be perfect because this plastic was pretty bent out of shape, pretty cut up, but that is so much better than all that. So let's get this one fixed. Alright, so granted it is not absolutely perfect, but from what it was before to what it is now, it is no longer folded over itself. Everything's going to fit nice and flush. None of these holes here are an issue. So now the last thing that we need to do before we call it quits on these side skirts and start prepping is we need to fix the passenger side skirt. So I can see down here there's two little hash marks, one here, one here. It's for the top and the bottom. Better than plastic welding it, I think we're gonna do some janky JB weld to get that sitting in the proper position before we go ahead and weld around it to make sure it's not gonna break. Right here and right here is our two little marks that we need to line up. Well, now we let that set up. That'll be probably about like 15 minutes, so it says. But I did put a lot, and in hopes that this won't break off again. But there it is. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's definitely not the worst thing ever. That was some huge progress. That has been bothering me for a very long time. And now that we got those side skirts off, we can go ahead and finish up prep on this car, so we can go ahead and paint this here in the next couple of videos. But she's sitting good now. Pinch welds are done. I think I'm going to pick up a set of those like lift blocks, I think is what they're called. They pretty much go onto the pinch weld and you put your jack onto that instead of destroying your pinch welds like I just fixed. So this guy is going to go into paint here soon. She's all finished up, all sanded down on every single piece that requires bodywork. Here's kind of where I'm at, a little bit of a toss-up. Do we keep the duckbill, or do we take it off and we do a park bench wing? An OEM STI wing would look amazing on this, even though it's not an STI. I really don't care. I like how it looks. I do have the 04 to 05 tails. I absolutely hated the 06, 07 tails for the WRX. They look horrible. So do we stick with the duckbill, or do we do a wing? Let me know down in the comments. And then also, the scoop. Since we have a front mount, do we run the scoop or do we run a scoop delete? Let me know what you guys think. I could go either way on both. I think the scoop is cool, but obviously don't have a top mount anymore. So who really knows? So that's up for discussion. The hood scoop is the easiest option because we already have it, and the duckbill is the easiest option because we already have it. Whichever way we go, we are going to paint both of them the same color, so we have options. But yeah, last thing to do for this is just finish all the prep work and then get in the booth. That's where I'm going to wrap up today's video at. Thank you all for sticking around. I appreciate you all. This build has come a very long way in just this little garage. So thank you all for tuning in and watching. I appreciate all of you, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.